This is a presentation on how the mind works. This basically is a model based on Buddhist texts. I have divided this presentation into 6 parts. In this presentation, I have used the format of a formal scientific presentation, although this is more like an analytical description of some basic teachings of the Buddha, with some subjective first-person observations. First, I want to give you some background information on mindfulness meditation and some clinical applications. Mindfulness meditation methods are now being used in many medical centers around the world to treat depression, anxiety, and many other medical disorders. The 2 main methods used are called mindfulness-based stress reduction, MBSR for short, and mindfulness-based cognitive therapy, MBCT for short in this case. MBSR and MBCT mainly use parts of the 4 foundations of mindfulness as taught by the Buddha 2600 years ago. In addition to this, there is a great interest among neuroscientists around the world to learn about how the brain works during mindfulness meditation. This slide shows what happens inside a meditating brain. What is shown in green is the frontal lobe of the brain. This is the most highly evolved part of the brain, responsible for reasoning, planning, emotions, and self-conscious awareness. During meditation, the frontal cortex tends to go offline. The grey part of the brain shown here is the parietal lobe. This part of the brain processes sensory information about the surrounding world, orienting you in time and space. During meditation, the activity of the parietal lobe slows down. The reticular formation is shown here as a tube-like structure. As the brain's century, this structure receives information and puts the brain on alert, ready to respond. Meditating dials back the arousal signal. The thalamus is the olive-like structure shown in the diagram, is the gatekeeper of the senses. This organ focuses your attention by funneling some sensory data deeper into the brain and stopping other signals in their tracks. Meditation reduces the flow of incoming information to trickle. Scientists now use functional fMRI scans, or fMRI for short, to study the changes in the brain during mindfulness meditation. This slide shows a fMRI scan and some sample pictures. fMRI scans detect metabolic activity of the neurons at rest, during and after meditation. The figure shown in left, you can see a Buddhist monk going into a fMRI scan for testing. Figure shown in the right is a cross-section of the brain showing varying degree of activity during meditation. The yellow areas show high metabolic activity. The red area shows medium metabolic activity, and the blue area shows minimal metabolic activity. The figure at the bottom is an actual scan from a study published in a Neuroscience journal. In this figure, yellow areas indicate increased areas of activity in the brain during meditation. Dr. Philippe Godin, a neuroscientist from Stanford University, has summarized the basic changes that occur in the brain after mindfulness meditation. This slide was taken from one of his recent presentations. When there is a threat posed at us, the limbic system, or the emotional reactive area of the brain, which is shown in red here, goes into action immediately, asking for help from the higher cortical centers. Meditation has shown to reduce the emotional reactivity of the limbic system. Meditation has also shown to increase the attention regulation and cognitive regulation, which is shown in blue here, to downregulate the activity of the limbic system. Studies have also shown that there is increased sensory and visual experience in people who meditate, which is shown in green here. For example, there's increased sense of taste and smell, and they are more aware of the sensations from their viscera. Interestingly, meditation has also shown to reduce the conceptual self-view as shown in the yellow bubble here. The purpose of this study was to investigate further the teachings of the Buddha and to understand how the mind works using a model based on core teachings of the Buddha. My hypothesis is that the human being is nothing but a collection of 5 aggregates, a complex and rapidly changing psychophysical organism, sustained by nutriments, driven by craving, in the background of ignorance. To test this hypothesis, I used some basic teachings of the Buddha and constructed a model. I then applied this model to many other sutras chosen at random that discuss the mind. Many complex interactions and dependent phenomena were observed in the literature as well as tested through personal meditative contemplations. Once Buddha said, "Not seeing how the 6 senses work, we recycle cells in the samsara." This was said in Mahasalayatanika Sutra. In the next part of the presentation, I will discuss in detail how these 6 senses work.